Hi there, this is Alan, and I am currently in Riverside, Iowa.
And we were talking about the Shatner thing in Riverside.
Have you guys done this type of stuff before? Yeah, with friends.
Chekov chocolate and the Romulan raspberry and the Vulcan vanilla, and we did all that.
The other thing that I am very respectful of the people of Iowa is you're the first people that gave Obama his victory in the campaign. And I applaud you for your leadership and being so progressive in being the first in the Midwest to legalize marriage equality. And this weekend is very propitious because it just happens that this weekend is the 40th anniversary of what's called the Stonewall Revolt, when the gay liberation movement began 40 years ago in Greenwich Village in New York. And here you are, still at the leadership, and we Californians, have stumbled with Proposition 8. So bravo to all of you tomorrow. Well, my career began doing voices. Back in 1958, I lived in the English dialogue to a Japanese science fiction movie called Rodan. And that's how I got my Screen Actors Guild card. So this is my 51st year as a card-carrying member of the Screen Actors Guild. I've been doing voice work throughout. A lot of Saturday afternoon animations, narrations. You don't have Carl's Jr., but Carl's Jr. is coming out with a new hamburger called the Teriyaki Burger. And I do guess you know what the connection is. I'm a Japanese actor. But heartbreaks like that happen to all actors. We get more rejections than we get actually cast. So, you know, this is a given in our business. You have to be thick-skinned enough to be able to let these rejections roll off your studs, and at the same time be sensitive enough to make those roles yours. But, you know, there was one role that I desperately wanted that I didn't think I would get because of Star Trek and the notoriety, you know, that the association I have with the one character. But I wound up with the part because of Star Trek, as I discovered later on. It was an Australian film starring Brian Brown called, in Australia it was called Blood Oath. But when it was released in the United States, it was called Prisoners of the Sun. It was based on the actual transcripts of the war crimes trial that Australia conducted after the Second World War. Some horrific atrocities happened at a prisoner of war camp, Japan run prisoner of war camp in the Indonesian Isles. And the commandant of that camp was suspected to be the prime culprit. However, he happened to be a member of the royal family, a second cousin of the emperor. And after the war, General MacArthur needed to bring up the economy of a war-torn Japan as quickly as possible because there was a threat of Japan going communist. And so he needed all the people before the war that were the industrialists and the powers that be. And this second cousin of the emperor was a member of what they called the Daihatsu, the conglomerates of Japan. It was sort of like Mitsubishi and one of those great banking, shipbuilding firms. And so MacArthur sends an American major over to run interference with the Australian war crimes trial. And essentially that character gets off scot-free, and his underlings are the ones that are either executed or committed harakiri, to atone for the atrocities. It was a wonderful role. The character, the man was educated at Oxford, England, spoke with a British accent. He was someone who enjoyed the luxuries of the Western world, good cigars, fine tailored clothing, and so forth. They went to Japan to cast all the Japanese roles, and they did indeed cast a dozen of the Japanese roles. However, for that lead role of the commentator, they cast me, and I was overjoyed. And during the filming, the producer happened to be sitting next to me during a break in the filming, and we were chit-chatting, and I asked him, you know, these other actors from Japan are wonderful, and I'm so grateful that you cast me from Los Angeles, a Japanese American. And I said, why didn't you cast my character out of Japan as well? And he said, well, we're targeting this film to be marketable not only in Australia, but in Asia, in North America, and in Europe. And he felt there was no actor in Japan who could speak Japanese and English with a British accent and sell tickets in Asia, North America, and Europe. And that I know that that's primarily because of Star Trek. So I owe to Star Trek the fact that I got a role that I desperately wanted, but I thought that I wouldn't get because they cast everybody else out of Japan. And an interesting tag on to that, there was a small role of the assistant to the prosecuting attorney, played by Brian Brown, played by an actor whose name you'll recognize. It was the very first role, movie job for this young New Zealand actor named Russell Crowe. And he was like a puppy dog, so eager to, you know, make friends with the actors. And when I was chatting with him, he discovered that I ran every morning. He said, what hotel are you staying at? And what time do I run? The next morning when I came downstairs, there he was in the lobby in his running clothes, waiting for me. And so he pumped and pumped with me on my morning run while we were filming Prisoners of the Sun in Brisbane, Australia. So there's a plus side to being associated with Star Trek as well.